Hello and welcome back to EV Swap. I'm Jimmy and I'm a car enthusiast. I love cars of all types, but here at EV Swap, we take cars that are gas and make them electric. All right, big updates for the video this week. We got the truck, the Tacoma, 3D scanned. My buddy Tyler came over and brought his 3D scanner, and we were able to scan the engine bay of the truck and also the undercarriage. So now we can get on the computer and we can start CADing up some battery box designs, figure out how much space we have, what best ways to package the modules from the Leaf pack into the Tacoma, because this truck I think is going to take a little bit more care and effort in getting the battery modules packaged in the most efficient way. The engine bay on the Frontier is quite large, and the space underneath the bed and the cab is actually quite small. So what we're going to do probably is have some of the batteries up underneath the hood behind the radiator, in between where the electric motor is and the front of the truck. I think there's enough space for maybe up to half of the battery pack up there, and then the rest of the battery pack will fit underneath the bed and the cab of the truck. So that's super cool. Tyler is a great guy. If you remember my videos where I got to race in the 24 Hours of Lemons, that truck was built by Tyler and his team, and he's just a really smart guy who has a lot of experience working for OEM EVs and an electric motor industry. So he's a really smart guy and super nice guy to help me 3D scan my truck. And that 3D scanning technology is just so cool that you can have a little handheld device that you just wave over the surface and create an accurate, detailed 3D model. And it gets all the little nooks and crannies. It gets all the subframes and the contours of the bottom of the truck. So I'm just really impressed with the results. Now the harder challenge is going to be bringing that into the CAD programs, designing a battery box that will fit all the modules, the contactors, all the wiring, the BMS, all of these things that you don't really think about when you think of a battery, but all of that stuff needs to fit in the battery boxes as well. So this is just amazing help that Tyler was able to give me, and I'm just really excited for this build now that we can have such accurate 3D models. We can make a really nice battery box, and I'm trying to kick it around in my head how I can make this a kit so that you guys out there with your own Toyota Tacomas can buy the battery box and buy a Nissan Leaf, put them together and build your own EV Tacoma. All right, so the next updates in this video is on the VW Beetle. We got the Hyper 9 motor installed in the car, and let's get into that and I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so we got the Beetle and this is the Hyper 9 motor. What I'm going to do now is install the coupler. So according to EV West, you need to heat the coupler up to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's about 316 degrees Celsius. So I've got this pretty cool like scientific style heating plate, and I had this coupler on here for about 30 or 40 minutes or so that it's nice and hot. Hopefully it's up to the 600 degrees. I've been having trouble with my IR thermometer reading off of the surface just because it's bare metal, and infrared thermometers have trouble with bare metal. And my FLIR camera only reads up to 150 C, but the temperature looks uniform throughout it. I had this little bolt on here too to try to get a better reading, but unfortunately still not getting a great reading. So what I'm going to do now is take the coupler and try to fit it onto the shaft of the Hyper 9 motor. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to use my welding gloves so I don't burn myself. Have the keyway installed in here. Looks nice and flush. Here we go. Wow. It went right down and on there. That was easier than I thought. I actually brought my mallet over to try to encourage it on there, but it slipped right on. There's also a spacer ring, which you need to install in the shaft, and I already put that on there, but it's already tightening up. I'll give it a couple taps. All right. It's installed. I'll let that cool off now. They're testing the fire alarm and strobe light today. It works. All right, so I'm gonna put the motor in the Beetle now. I went ahead and I installed the clutch, the pressure plate adapter, bolted it onto the coupler there, and then it just bolts on with 4 bolts to the transmission. Another thing is, if you're doing these EV West kits, you want to make sure that these 3 threaded holes on top are on the top in line with the plugs on the back, because the controller mounts to this place here. So we'll go ahead and slide it under the Beetle and bolt it up. Well, I was having trouble getting the input shaft lined up and get it slid on there, so I went ahead and pulled it out. I'm going to do some measuring, look a little bit closer. Maybe you have to center the clutch up pretty good, but it's pretty dang near centered. We'll try again here shortly. I just found a problem that's going to hard stop me from getting it in. So on the pressure plate, the inside diameter here is too small to slip over that guide. So see, it won't go over that guide. And it needs to, because when you activate the clutch, this throwout bearing pushes on that part of the pressure plate. But if it's not going over this piece here, it's not going to work. And also that's stopping the motor from fully seating on, because the pressure plate's not sliding over that. So I need to get on the phone with EV West and see, maybe they sent me the wrong pressure plate, or maybe I need to get a different pressure plate for it. But that's going to hard stop me in my tracks today. Kind of a bummer, but I guess that's part of it. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? All right, well, let me work on that. It helps to read the instructions. So basically what this is saying is the early VWs need this little ring on here, but my later style doesn't need it. So what I need to do is remove this little clip, and then that donut will come off, and then it should fit. I think that's going to be a job for tomorrow, because it's starting to get late in the day and I'm running out of steam. But I guess I thought this was just small print, but this is important information. Okay, so I got the little spring clip off, and yep, that donut comes right out. Okay, so that's the issue if you're running into this on your VW kit. Sweet, glad that was an easy fix. All right, sweet. Motor is now engaged with the transmission. So I just have to put the 4 bolts around the outside and it'll be bolted in. One trick is using a transmission jack like this that has an adjustable base plate, so you can change the angle on it. That's key, because there's very little space between the motor and the body here. So what I had to do is put the motor at like an angle with the front up, then slide it in so that the input shaft would go into the pressure plate area, and that would give me enough room to get it forward, and then I could jack the rear of the motor up to fully engage it. But we're fully engaged now. I'm going to go ahead and put the bolts in, and we'll get this sucker bolted in. All right, we have the motor installed in the Beetle now. A nice Hyper 9, bolted up nice. The fit and finish on the EV West parts are really good. Really pleased with the how easy that was to install. So I'm happy I got that installed. That was taking up some space over in the corner of my shop, so now I got some space freed up so I can get back to work on the Tacoma and continue on with the Beetle build. So next steps, I'm gonna start laying out the various components that we're gonna need so I can figure out where my wires are gonna be run and figure out how to get everything connected up. But now the heavy lifting is done. All right, thanks again for watching another episode here on EV Swap. Like the video, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not, and hit that little bell notification. And the best way to grow the channel is to share it with your friends and family who you think might be interested in this content. So we'll see you here next week on EV Swap.